Hey everybody, it is LSID932 on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me for another live episode of Married at First Sight Australia. We're going to talk about what happened this week from Monday to Sunday, the most recent episode being today. So take a moment, please, and I would like you, if you can, like, subscribe, share this with a friend. Even if you can't see Married at First Sight directly, there are YouTube channels that do show each episode daily. It shows from Sunday to Wednesday weekly. So certainly search and try those out. Kojo is going to be joining me, Little Black Book 91. A little bit later, he is traveling. So let's see if we can talk about this. For those of you all who are not familiar with Married at First Sight Australia, it is wickedly good. Everything you're looking for: reality dating, the people being married at first sight, living together. Australia delivers. Australia delivers every single season, I must say. There's always some kind of scandal, and we are here for it. And we love the weekly updates with the experts. That's what I love with Married at First Sight Australia. Every week, the couples come together, they share what challenges they may have, and then they talk to the experts to try and figure out what they should do the next week. Then each decide whether they are going to stay or leave the marriage and the experiment. If one says stay and the other says leave, they have to stay for one more week until they both say leave. But certainly minds can be changed on the couch. And we have our first couch session this week. And it was on fire. It was on fire. So before I dive into it, let me, Smoke Artist, are you ready? I have another guest as well. So I have friends who love this, and we will be talking to each other and joining the lives occasionally. Smoke Artist, you here? Okay, I'm guessing I cannot hear him. Hey,
Yo,
Kojo.
yo, we saying? Sorry.
Nothing. Just say hey to the people.
Yeah, listen. I this FD the last this week has been crazy. I hope my background's not too loud. But yeah, this week has been absolutely crazy. I can't lie to you. And literally, I'm for me, especially decision day. I think for body language wise, there's a lot of interesting body languages. That's what I'd say. I won't go too far just yet, but just it's very, very interesting watching how the couples came, sat down, and discussed their problems. Specifically, even Tony and was it El? Is that, what's her name? El? How do you pronounce her name?
Tony and who are we talking about?
Tony and his wife. What's his name? What's her name? Is it Elsa
Tony,
or
you
something
mean
like that?
Tim and Katie?
Nah, nah, nah. Tony. You know Tony has his wife.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Morena.
That's it, Marina. Yeah, yeah, and he had to get corrected. But yeah, Tony Marino, obviously interesting because he was sat on the other side of the sofa. Like he was on the other side of the sofa. That guy said, "I don't know what's going on, but this ain't going on for me." You know what I'm saying to you? So yeah, it's interesting. We'll talk about it, but it's just interesting to see that how the couples were kind of sitting and stuff.
Yeah, your background is fine. Your background is fine. Yes, it is going to be interesting. It's going. Oh, yes, I did feel for Tony. I felt for Tony, and since you got us there, and I told you I had a little surprise for you, um, let's start with Tony and Marina. I don't know if you can see the screen.
I can see the screen. I can see the screen.
Okay, we have Tony and Marina below between us. If everybody can see them, that is Tony and Marina.
Yeah, yeah.
I learned how to put those folks in the middle. So
Come
I
on
said,
now.
let me bring some skills forth. Okay. Um,
That's right.
so Tony and Marina, this week we had the two challenges. We had confessions challenges. This is where the couples write a letter confessing something that is really moving to them in their life. And they also had the picture challenge. This is where it gets dicey, y'all. They're given the photos of all the other brides and grooms, and they have to rank them. So the male, the groom, has to rank all the other brides and then place his bride in his preference listing amongst the others. And she has to do the same with the men. So Tony and Marina, though, the only thing we saw with them this week was the confessions challenge, where she confessed she's never been in love. And while Tony was confessing that he had a wonderful romantic relationship with his ex, he barely got a word in edgewise. And I'm feeling for Tony. I really am feeling for Tony because every time he starts, Marina cuts him off and she is going 100 miles an hour. And we saw it too on the sofa when he was trying to speak. He did say the wrong name, but he changed it real quick. But she didn't hear the change. She didn't hear when he corrected himself. What are your thoughts, Kojo, with Tony and Marina this week?
Yeah, listen. So for me personally, when it comes to Tony and Marina, obviously we saw them on Confessions Week, right? That was the first. I think that was the first indication where we saw that Marina has no filter on those lips. When I say no filter, what I mean by that she doesn't know how to listen very well. So she's talking, but she's not listening. So she's sharing parts of her life and what's going on, and that's all well and good. But if you notice, Tony was really struggling first and foremost to be actually kind of like open. So he takes a little bit of time to actually open himself up. When he did begin to open up, she cut him across. Now they did a funny edit to make it look like even worse than probably what it was, but it was an indication again to let us know that this is a struggle that he's having. If somebody struggles to open up and then you're somebody who cuts across them all the time, then they're never going to really open up. And so that was his biggest frustration. I think what he felt like, and if we were to really encapsulate what that actually is, after you try to open up to somebody and they cut across you, you now feel unheard and you feel unseen. So for him, that was a big feeling for him, not feeling heard and not feeling seen. So now she was not self-aware enough to even realize that she was doing it. She was here talking about he doesn't open up to me. Tony's not deep. Of course he's not deep. Yeah, yeah. I'm saying, yeah, Tony's not saying that Tony's not deep. Tony's not deep. But the reality was that she wasn't listening and paying attention to what actually he was trying to tell her. If she had, she would have seen that he was opening up to her. But yeah, that was interesting for the confession day.
That's correct, because Tony doesn't have a chance to open up. Tony doesn't have a much of a chance to let her know exactly what he's feeling or thinking. He did say in the romantic discussions with his, you know, previous person, they went to, fine dining, they did romantic stuff every once in a while, and she interjects on she's never had that and never had that. And I feel so much for Tony that we saw one time where she is clearly talking and he is tuned out. He is acting and showing us like he's on a fishing vessel. This is production, of course. Saying, hey, it looks like he's on a ship or he's thinking of being on a fishing vessel out fishing while she keeps on yapping, yapping, yapping. Now, ladies, I have to agree, sometimes when we are talking a lot, people can tone out. As with gentlemen who are talk a lot, the other person may tune out. We have to be aware of the room. We have to be aware of the folks that are speaking and in conversation with. And I agree with you, Tashay Stone, that she is talking to respond rather than actually sharing and leaving space for Tony to share as well. Kojo, you have
I
anything
got some
else
noise
to
behind me.
share?
Yeah, so I got some noise behind me.
You're going in and out.
I had noise behind me. Sorry. Yeah, no. So and I think this was encapsulated again by also Decision Day, right? And the thing about Tony is that he lacks the ability to also be assertive about what he actually needs. So this is a two-way prong. I can't just blame her, because obviously she is doing the one that's aggressing and doing the cutting off. But the difficult thing is also, if you can never change what you don't know. So Tony doesn't say anything and expecting her to to read his mind, and that's not passive aggressive movement, or I should say, a very passive way of dealing with something. Rather, he should be able to say, "Hey, look, Marina, you're cutting across me. You're not actually listening to me. I'm not being heard. I want to share with you, but you're not allowing me to share." And I think he misses that aspect of it. So what you see is a shutdown, and he goes into his corner, but that doesn't help the relationship. You know what I'm saying to you? So that's something he needs to work on. Listen, you've been living life for a very long time. This is a key essential skill you have to learn, because you can't just shut down and expect a person just to read your mind and suddenly get it. So I think that's something that he has to work on to really bring about some changes for both of them. And I think this happens a lot of times in couples where someone blames only one person. They're like, oh, it's only her, but they don't realize the contribution they add into the actual problems that are happening. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, look, great. We see that she's cutting you off. Now, Tony, tell her that this is what's affecting you. You know, he kind of did on the couch, but it was kind of, I don't want to say childish, but I think it was kind of, it felt a little bit childish when he sat on the whole opposite end of the chair. It's like, bro, see, that's the problem we have. You're being passive instead of just coming on and sitting on the couch and telling her, look, this is my biggest problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing I think that is needed. And but shout out to the experts. The experts are there, and we get to see them every week. I think that's so much better. I think Married at First Sight US needs that. But yeah.
I agree, and that's why I started watching Australia. The weekly recaps with the experts, I think, is so needed. And they have an out. They have an out, like we don't have to suffer through this till the end. Some people in the US MAFS may take the out right about now, but it certainly helps them on a weekly basis kind of check in. And Tony, I understand Tony is I equate him like my granddad or whatever. And if you're talking a little too much, he'll just let you fizzle out, wear yourself out, and then he'll speak up. But yeah, I don't understand what exactly it is. But other than her talking, I wonder if it's what she's talking about, what she's saying. Does he feel judged? But hey, she says he's, physically able to keep up with her. So I think there's more under the surface why Tony is so quiet. He wasn't always that quiet before he even met her, even around his family. So I'm wondering, there's more there. And yes, Rose, we do want to give her some grace because of her previous relationship. And I'm hoping that she's not, since her previous relationship is like that and she is caring for her special needs son, I hope she's not treating him like he's her child. Any more you want to say on these two, Kojo? We're gonna move on to the
No, you're good.
next one.
You're good. You're good.
Ooh. Okay, let's go on to some a couple that's easy to talk about. Karina and Paul. Karina and Paul, for those of you they knew each other. This is supposed to be, love, married at first sight is supposed to be blindly marrying someone you don't know. You're supposed to meet them at the altar, but Karina and Paul dated previously for a little while, and it kind of fizzled out. He ghosted her. They've gone past that, and now they are trying to see if it'll make it work. Yeah. So they did the they did the audition tapes. That was the other thing. They saw each other's audition video, and we did watch Karina watch Paul's audition video, and she said she didn't learn anything new. He has presented himself throughout the application the same way she knows him. They're going on hunky dory, but I still need to know deeper why Paul ghosted her in the beginning.
Yeah, that was I'll talk more about decision day for them. I think body language was great. Very very close, holding hands. Their tonality, their voices were very bright, energetic. So this is clearly they got some great chemistry, and they had it before. So this is a good sign. Um, in regards to obviously Paul, what I would say is that when they did ask him, maybe it's an edit, but when they asked him, what was your thoughts? He said, I disagree with Karina. I said, Negro, no. I'm not saying don't have to agree with her, but come on, give us your perspective. Like, we heard what Karina likes about you, and come on, give us a bit more of what you're saying. And he said, "Oh, I just agree with what she said. Everything she said is right." And I said, mm, I wonder, you know. Hold on, my noise.
Understood. Yeah, I wonder too with them. And I wonder if it comes down to disagreements. If they have a disagreement, how are they going to handle it? How are they going to maneuver that? And that first time he forgets to call or he doesn't show up for something, is the ghosting going to rear its head?
Ugly head.
Yeah. It's like I'm waiting for them to truly show me they've gotten past it. And y'all, anytime there's a favorite couple, anytime there's a couple just running strides and doing so well, and you're like, yeah, they're going to be at the end, they pull the rug out from under us. they
You ain't lying.
Something happens, and it just let it burn, let it burn. Okay. Oh, now, for those of you why I don't show clips, the channel in Australia that shows this show is known for being very aggressive with striking channels who show clips or show clips too long without permission. And since I'm outside of Australia, that permission technically won't be granted. So just letting y'all know. So let's move on to another non problematic couple. Whew, another non Jamie and Dave. Jamie and Dave, they had the X challenge where you talk about your ex. Dave said he couldn't care less. Dave said, I don't want to see your ex, know your ex. I don't even want to see a picture. But Jamie asked for a picture of Dave's ex. She said she's curious. She said she's curious to see what his ex looks like. But at least in stride, she took it as, Dave cares for her, that he couldn't care less about what her ex looked like or anything like that. What are your thoughts about Jamie and Dave, another favorite of the fan?
I mean, I like them. Again, on decision day, their body language was really great. She was literally in his armpit. He had his arm. He had his arm around her. You know, seems very protective over her as well. Even though I think that sometimes she does it way too much. Like, she gets involved in so much people's business and too loud about it, and then ropes him in. That's one thing I don't like. And I think he needs to like rope that in quick. That's how you get into certain situations you don't need to be in. But they have a really great chemistry. Now it's really interesting. Obviously, remember, because obviously we know that she likes her bad boys who are not really bad boys with tattoos. So he's fitting the bill. There's obviously attraction there. I'm wondering when he's going to get to a point where he tells her to shut up, because her energy is annoying. Sorry, the noise behind me. Her energy is way too much.
Yes, her energy is like at a 12. 1 out of 10, it's at a 12. And the one thing I will say is, yes, there will be a time where it may be too much for him. Okay, maybe. But also, when she says, she's able to say, hey, Dave, I need you. I need you. I need to calm down. I'm running
Yeah, she said
amok
that. Yeah.
and I need you. And he is able to just be there,
Mm-hmm.
give her hug and calm her down. She's able to say thank you for being
Yep.
there for me, and they go their separate ways.
Yep. I love that. She mentioned that. She mentioned about that support and how he supports her very well, and I love that as well. Like, you need that in a relationship, right? I think I would say that this is probably one of the most positive kind of signs of seeing a relationship on a show, is that he supports her unconditionally. Even though I told her she should shut up, he supports her unconditionally, and you need that. You need that. You need that person who can allow you to be you, which is what she said. She felt like she can be herself, and he said he loves her authenticity. So that tells us this is great signs that these two are allowing themselves to flow, but also allow themselves to be themselves and be able to move in the relationship at their own pace. So that's something I love, and their unity as well. So again, I think this is a great couple. I really hope nothing bad happens. um, I hope that if he does feel like she's a bit too much, he tells her in the right way. So it doesn't ruin anything, because right now they're on a really good stretch, and I think this is really good in terms of just the interactions. And just seeing how they are able to be okay with each other, and support one another as well. Like even when how he supported her with the Tim situation. Now it wouldn't have been me. You're not going to rope me into a situation, but he allowed her to be dramatic. He allowed her to be a bit loud. He allowed her to be a little bit extra, and he supported her. Now I would have told my girl, you don't go and rush a man on the table because if he has to fight, you're not going to fight him. But he supported her in nonetheless. You know what I'm saying to you? So again, we love that unity.
Yeah, you're telling her, don't get into a tussle with a man because I gotta step in, and I mean I want to step in. I mean I want to get into a tussle, but Jamie is ready. Jamie saw at the dinner party her friend was being talked down to and made to feel less than, and Jamie was jumping to her friend's aid. And yes, Dave was that support that she needed. I do appreciate that dynamic, but yes, she needs to. It's almost like Tony and Marina. She's got to stop, pause for a bit, and let Dave interject every once in a while.
100%.
So let's go into another not so problematic couple, but we did learn a lot from them. Billy and Sierra. In their challenge this week, Billy wrote a confession letter that was very, very touching. It hit deep. He spoke about how he moved from Australia to the UK to see his dad. To me, I don't know if it's to rekindle a relationship with his dad, but the dad never picked up the phone, never visited him, never communicated with him, and he picked up his life to move to just have that relationship in his adult life. They also had the photo challenge where she did rank him first, but ranked him as first like he is beyond all the other men. But he didn't rank the other women. He said his wife is the only woman he has eyes for. He don't care about the other woman, and he only placed her photo for the photo challenge. So, what are your thoughts with Billy and Sierra this week?
Man, let me tell you. You know what? I think it's going to go back to what we said about. Can you hear me, bro? I just want to make sure I'm not cutting out. Fantastic. Yeah. I think it goes back to what we said last time about Sierra and Billy, right? The issue that they might have is that she might self-sabotage, number one, and number two, her insecurity might blow it up as well because Billy seems to be very open. He's a bit more emotional than most men would might tend to necessarily be, but that's not a bad thing. He seems to be quite well-rounded. But what I noticed from both situations, when he read out the letter, I think she wasn't sure how to comfort him. And again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's something that you can grow to learn. Do you know what I mean? But she wasn't sure how to comfort him because that's not what she does. And that's probably not what she's actually experienced herself. She probably hasn't had that place to do that. And this is one of the reasons why I say that it's very difficult sometimes to be in relationships with people when you're inverted sometimes, because the person has to be very much aware of the inversion. And there is an inversion here, which is that Billy's more emotional and she seems to be more emotionally reserved. So she wasn't sure how to handle it. Do I hug him? Do I cuddle him? Do I everything? To be fair, I think he might have wanted a hug. Most men would have told you, like, if they're telling you a story, I don't need a hug, I don't need sympathy, I don't need pity, just hear me out. You know what I'm saying to you? But I think Billy probably wanted that hug and he wanted her to be a bit more, maybe, just be a bit more on him a little bit. Do you know what I mean? So I noticed that. Then we fast forward to the actual deadline day, which I think is even more interesting because their body language, specifically hers, was actually interesting. So if you go back and watch it, you'll notice that she actually had at one point her back slightly turned towards him, and her leg was crossed over but away from him. Not that she doesn't like him, but she doesn't do closeness. She doesn't do intimacy like that. She doesn't do that physical closeness. So for her, it's like she's learned how to be very independent, and so I think she's struggling to open up herself to that place. Remember, her insecurities were a very big thing. But Billy, shout out to Billy as well, because look, I know that Jake's thing comment was a bit wild. You know what I mean? It shouldn't have come out. It shouldn't have been said. But Billy was on it. Like Billy said, I'm not having it. There's no way you're gonna talk to my wife this way. Like he let him know in it. So he showed some protection over her, which was very, very good as well. But she's got her insecurities, and I think if you notice as well, when he was going to open his thing to say whether he's going to stay or leave, most of the couples who are comfortable don't have to look at the person what they're doing. They know what they're going to do. She was not. She actually looked over his shoulder to see what his answer would be before he actually opened it. And I said, babe, you don't trust this man to love you. And I said, that's something she's going to have to work on. Otherwise, she's going to sabotage this situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, she certainly said that in her introduction to us. She is from a broken home. Her words, she hasn't had the protection of her dad. So we are seeing this play out in front of us with Billy. And I'm hoping, since Billy did step up and speak up for her in this confession, that'll help her lighten up towards him. He did acknowledge that she did kind of, rub his back, give him a hug, but again, he probably had to ask for it after that confession talk. But yes, she is not the, very expressive physically of her emotions. She kind of keeps it in, she says, so she doesn't get hurt. Now, what are we talking about, everyone, is that there's another groom who had very disparaging things to say about the other brides when he was ranking their photos. And Billy's wife, it was said that she looked like she would stand with a weapon at your bedside, and basically you should sleep with both eyes open around her. And Bill, the that groom, his bride, came over to Billy and Sierra's house to vent how she felt, and that's how Billy and Sierra found out about it. So Billy stood up for his wife and said, "You're not going to talk about my wife. You're not going to say that. You're not going, it ain't a joke. It ain't a joke." So Billy certainly stepped up. Sierra didn't have to say a word about it. And I'm wondering, did the other bride speak in front of both of them, or was this Sierra telling him? But I'm thinking Billy is my chatty patty too. Billy and Jamie are my chatty patties. I'm thinking Billy was there for the goss, for the gossip when it came to his door.
Pillow talking heavy, baby. Heavy pillow talk. Heavy pillow talk.
If it ain't pillow talk, I am certain that Billy was sitting at the table getting the gossip directly from the source. Okay, directly from the source. So speaking of the source, Ashley and Jake. Ashley and Jake, this is the couple I'm speaking about. Jake had a lot of things to say about the other brides when he was ranking them. Ashley, his wife, did not like it. Jake has a preference, he said, for more, Caucasian looking features. And many, including his wife Ashley, were greatly offended. Greatly offended. And he talked about crazy eyes and who looks like you need to sleep with your eyes open around them. He had a lot to say about each of the brides, but he said he felt like you had to say something about it. So you had to say something. He felt you had to say something about each person when you could just rank them, or as Billy did, not rank them. So I don't think Jake either watched the show enough to know that it's a possibility you don't have to rank. But Ashley was offended. Ashley went and ran and told. Jake now feels he cannot trust Ashley when he makes a mistake, that she will run and tell. And now we've created a friction between the two men, because Billy was coming at Jake for his wife. So Ashley telling her friend has now caused the two men now to have issue with each other. Could have been a fight.
You really
What you
could have.
saying,
You really
Kosho?
could have. Yeah, listen, to be honest, listen. First and foremost, I want to make it very clear. Some of the comments that Jake made should stay in his head, right? He's very foolish for making these comments on camera. You know what I mean? Like, because even if she didn't tell him, it's going to come out later on. So he was very foolish to make these comments. while while that I do believe he was very foolish for that. I think he was not trying. I didn't feel the maliciousness. I didn't feel him trying to disparage the other people, like to try and hurt them. It was more of a case of a very dry, stupid humor, things that you might say within your couple that you never tell anybody. You know what I mean? Like we all have conversations with our partner and we say some stuff about other people. And look, it's never meant to get to the other person. It's never meant to get to the other person. And it's not like you don't like them. It's not like you hate them. It's simply just conversation you have with your partner. We all gossip. It's normal, but he should have said it on camera. That was stupid, and he's got to be accountable for those particular behaviors. Number two, Ashley. Why is it that it took you drink? This is where the problem is. Also, Ashley's a leak because it took drinking to take you there. So now we know that when you drink, you're a leaker, right? So you went over there and went and giscopped. I can't even say gossip. Giscopped. You giscopped over. You giscopped over there and told your friend information. And I get it, but my thing is this: You have other friends outside of the show. You could have called them and said, babe, let me tell you something about my man right now. He is bugging. You went and told the very people who are there because you wanted to do women's solidarity. I said you're not ready for marriage because you going kill your marriage because of women's solidarity. And any man who does that is a problem. Any woman who does that is a problem. Your marriage comes first. So if the comments were disparaging, take it to the experts. If you really need to take it to somebody, the experts are there. Take it to them and ask them what do I want to what do I do in this situation. Don't take it to the very people he spoke about because you haven't actually really had a full conversation with him properly to really decipher where's this coming from. You, and also, I didn't have a problem with him saying he wants Caucasoid women. I said that's fine. I mean, I like only black women, so I don't. It wasn't a beef for me. So if you only like Caucasoid women, he's a Caucasoid. I don't understand what the beef is. Let him like his women, but he will learn a lesson now. And I think this relationship is done. If I'm honest with you, I don't think he ever will forgive her. That level of trust we've broken, where he gets cussed out by other men. Yeah, I don't know if he can.
I agree with you. I don't think he can forgive her for letting this out. And the thing is, it's showing, yes, he made a mistake, but hey, we have all said some foolish things or some things with our significant other that we don't want out in public. Okay? We've all done it. So, I'm of the opinion that it's also she's proving she's not going to cover him. She could have stopped him while they were doing that challenge. She could have said, yeah, Jake, we're going a little too far. Or, hey, Jake, could we speed it up? They've been around each other. I believe it's been, by that time, it's at least a week or almost a week for the honeymoon and then moving in together. We could already kind of tell that Jake is a little bit different. We know he says things that doesn't always land. So I would definitely have given him a little prompt. The cameras are there. It'll be a little prompt of we need a cue when we need to stop talking. And he just kept going on, and she didn't stop him. She was just in shock and stopped and let him keep on going. I was like, girl, you could have stopped him, or you could have let him hung him out to dry like he did. Whew. Anything else you want to say about Ashley and Jake?
I mean, listen, I think this is a great example though for couples in general, because listen, while I don't think Jake what he said was great, again, I want to be honest. I want to be very honest. It should stay in your head, and you wait for a private time moment to have these kind of conversations. You're absolutely right. I think this just showed that he wasn't going to get covered, and I was like, also because also she was ready to also almost let him get torn up by the experts too, and the people around him. And I said, well, I get that you took accountability for talking, but I don't know. I guess I was looking for some wisdom in this situation. I don't know how you had to handle it, but maybe even if it was going to be a private conversation with you and the couples beforehand, just to say it takes the sting out of it because now in public, everyone's going to know. And now he looks like this person who's, I mean, listen, he's got his own looks that we have to talk about, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but the reality of the situation is he's now getting to the public and he's going to get torn by the public. When I mean public, I don't mean by the cohorts around him. Also, they do not have context. So when she says these things, the context is going to be missing. Even if, because I know what he meant. When he said that she's standing over the bed and looks like she's got a scary face, I can understand what he meant. Just the same way I'm going to say that when he stands there, he looks like a Eric. He looks like somebody who's taking out people. You know what I'm saying to you? He has a look. So it's not, it's a context thing. But if you go and tell the other couple, it misses the context. So they're going to receive it. And there's no way I can receive it any other way apart from you're talking about my wife like that. You get what I'm saying to you? So it's one of those things, and you're right. I think you captured it eloquently. Any person who does this, man or woman, you're not covering your partner. There's sometimes the Bible says that love covers a multitude of sins. Sometimes we say stupid stuff, and we need to cover you. And when we get home, I can tell you, babe, yeah, no, don't do that again. Or if I'm doing something stupid, you get me a home, you say, babe, don't do that. That was embarrassing. And I'm like, all right, sorry, my bad. You know what I'm saying to you? So yeah, it just ruins the trust. And I don't know. Can I tell you anything now? Because tomorrow you might leak it if you get drunk again. Not even drunk. Even if you get tipsy, you might release it. Ah.
Yeah, we know those car rides home can get real wild. Especially, it's really hard sometimes when in the moment something at a dinner party, a party, or out with friends, and your partner does something that really grates your nerves. It's quite hard to hold on to it till y'all are private to have a discussion. But that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do to cover your partner and to protect your relationship. Okay, if nothing else with them, we'll move on to the next couple. Oh, yes, let's go on to Adrian and Athena. So this week,
Ooh.
Adrian and Athena, I'm kind of boiling us up to the top level. Adrian and Athena, this week they had the couples ranking. They both kind of ranked each other. Well, we saw her ranking him, but also Conventions Week, she wrote about how she loved being a mother. Adrian decided not to do the challenge, not to do the writing. He is not going to reveal a secret. He is not going to do it. His secrets are his own. He is not sharing. But they do have a physical attraction with each other. And Adrian had a wonderful, wonderful opening for the on the couch. So to let everybody know, Adrian did not wish for a lady that had a kid. I see you. Life is reality. I'll bring you on soon. Adrian did not want someone with a kid. He wanted a first child to be also his lady's first child. He did not wish to be a step parent because he came to the realization it's a lot of responsibility. It wasn't his life. He said both parents were there in the household with all of their children. So he did not know. He knows it's a responsibility to be a man for her son. And he also now has to factor in the son's dad. This is not the life he lived. Athena, on the other hand, grew up with a stepdad that is her dad. So she, of course, was raised in that environment and knows that it can work. And Adrian had a breakthrough on the couch when talking to the experts in saying, I got everything I wanted. A woman who can love beyond measure, which is a mother, which is Athena. And I got a woman that is caring and sharing and all of that. So he did get technically what he wanted. So, Kojo, tell me, let me bring Life is Reality. Let me set up the screen. But tell us, what did you think about Adrian and Athena this week?
Yeah, no, listen, I think it's I wish obviously I'll go straight to the landing and come backwards. I wish they would have kind of maybe validated his feelings a little bit. It's a very heavy situation to be in, right? To take on a kid and in a place where you've not actually met the person. You know what I mean? So I wish the experts would have validated it and not gone on like it's an easy thing just to become a father all of a sudden. Like you just wake up and you become a father the next day. So that was my only kind of issue with that, and which they validated him. Now I think he has some genuine concerns about that, and I think that's fair. You know, sometimes it just needs to be heard. I think the other aspect though with them is that they have really great chemistry. They have amazing chemistry in terms of not even just sex or anything, but just the chemistry in terms of the playfulness, the smiles on their face. They seem to just enjoy being around each other, and she brings a lightness to him. Now, the biggest issue I see is with Adrian and her is that they have this dynamic, which I think I spoke about plenty of times when it comes to attachment, is the anxious and the avoidant situation. He shuts down and then smiles in your face, so it looks like he's taking a piss. And if I'm really honest with you, I would get pissed off if somebody was doing that to me, right? It's something that Adrian has to really work on because you can't shut down and then smile at me as I'm trying to explain something to you. It's very rude and disrespectful at points. And I think that part of him needs to work on it. And he's probably not doing it on purpose. He's not trying to do that, but I think he's uncomfortable with vulnerability to a point where he has to smile and laugh. But it's just like, then we need to get to a point where we can explain that because it does look some type of way. Um, like for instance, the letter task situation, right? That happened when you were meant to write the letters and everything like that as well. Um, and he didn't do the letter, and I was like, okay, I hear it. You're not writing the letter, but um, you know, you also got to be aware that if you're not going to write a letter, right, we're gonna have to cushion the blow here, right? We're gonna have to explain some things. You just said obviously I don't want to write a letter. Now, to be fair, he did this article that happened was it got moved goalposts because he wasn't really explaining it fully. But when he explained it, it was really saying that he doesn't want to do it for anybody. It's not just for her. He's not ready to share some of the deep things that have happened to him that have influenced him. That told me that he's been through some stuff, right? He's been some deep stuff, right? So all that talk about my parents, you know, I came from a cohesive home and all that kind of stuff tells me you ain't telling the full truth. Because if you're telling me there's some deep stuff that have influenced you that you can't share, yeah, all that talk about cohesive family, I came from a family with no other extra kids, that's great, but it seems like you saw some stuff, right? So I need to stop bigging it up and start making it like it's a and put it on a pedestal and actually start doing the work. And I think that's where I wish the experts would have grabbed him a little bit, because all we talked about was the kid situation. The kid situation is half the job, okay? It's half the job. We need to start talking about how he needs to be vulnerable, because that will ruin the thing in the end. You know what I mean? So yeah, just that's something I noticed about him.
Yeah, that cute smile seems like Adrian has used it in the past to get out of a lot of things. And he's using it now. And I'm glad Athena saw that it was being used on her. And she's like, hey, no, 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 don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. But let's get Life is Reality. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Welcome, welcome. We're talking about Adrian and Athena. What are your thoughts about them this season so far up until the couch decision day today?
Right. Yeah, I definitely see both aspects with regards to how he wanted to be with somebody who was without child. And as Kojo eloquently explained it, it's putting him in a very pressurized situation to a degree, because now he has to think about, if their relationship progresses, he'll have to get to know the child and probably go against what he's been looking for. But also the child has to like him. And like he said, there are other aspects as well, like the child's father and things like that. And if he's from a family where it's predominantly been, you meet someone, you get with someone, and you have kids with that person, him coming in with an external child as part of his relationship, there may be some anxiety that goes along with that, along with the pressure as well, because he's diverting from the norm of what he's used to seeing around him. And then I do also see where you're saying about his passive aggressiveness with the smile. It's like a defense mechanism, from what I can see, like a coping mechanism. If he gets rattled, if he gets stressed, he's heated, but he masks it with this smile. And I think Athena wants to get a reaction sometimes, get something back from him. And rather than give it, rather than go deep, rather than open up, he uses that smile and then basically declines whatever it is flat out. He's not moving. He's very rigid. So, but aside from that, they do have an attraction for each other. And at this stage, it's still early, and that's the main thing, right? They still are attracted to each other and still want to make it work, despite some of the turbulence that they've experienced together.
Here was Koji and I were talking offline about this, and it was a question I had. What if Adrian knew that this confession, she's going to bring up motherhood again? And he just is tired of hearing this over and over again. Because really, what do we know about Athena other than she's a twin and a mother? He could just be like, she doesn't share anything else but this. And I don't know how I feel about it till, of course, he got to the to the um to the couch. He don't want to hear about it anymore, or it be put in front of him again. And yes, MAFS Australia does allow folks with children, and I've known it's only been like one kid. But MAFS Australia is different in many regards in that they meet weekly with the experts as well, and they have certain tasks they have to do to build a relationship. So what are your thoughts? Maybe Adrian thought she was going to be bringing up I'm a mother again.
Yeah. I think she definitely values and prides herself on the fact that she's a mother. So I think that's why she leads with it so much. And as we said, he may not have come into the experiment necessarily wanting to date anyone that has children, probably doesn't date women that has children. So if she's leading with that, then I guess he's thinking, well, what else is there to you? Like, there must be more, right? But I think that's something that they're going to have to overcome, because that's part of why why he didn't feel like he got what he wanted in that aspect. If they stay together, then eventually he'll get to know more about her. He just has to give it time. But she is used to being a mum, and there's no taking away from that. maybe she spent the first few years, out of work, bonding with the child, bringing up the child in the relationship she had, and all the rest of it. So that's all she knows right now. But the other aspects of her personality will come out as time progresses.
Kojo, what are your thoughts? Do you think he was just tired? He just tired of the same talk over and over again?
I don't know. I don't know if he's tired about the same talk. I think I just think that she makes her whole personality in kids, and sometimes that's a bit annoying because he's not ready for kids with her. They're not ready for kids in terms of being a father. So I think that's the reason why, innit? So I think for him, it's just a case of don't talk about it too soon. I'm not there yet. You know when someone starts saying to you, "I love you," and you're like, "Oh, please, I don't love you just yet." So chill is that kind of conversation. I think that's what it is, and he knows that her kids, that you can't get rid of kids like from her. You know what I'm saying to you? But it's like, I'm not fully sure if I'm 100% there just yet. The chemistry's on point. I like you, but I can't say 100% I'm there yet. So don't rush it, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Hey, you're muted, El Cid. There you
Y'all
go.
can't hear me?
Yeah, can hear you now.
Okay, awesome. Jeff and Rye, let's go on to the next couple. Rye and Jeff, they dated last year. They were together for like a month. She walked down the aisle and realized she knew him and his friends. Okay. She's been to his place a few times and he cooked for her. This is another couple. It's unprecedented, but this is the second couple in the same season that they have seen each other. And life is reality. I asked this of Kojo last week. Do you think that this married at first sight is really good for couples who maybe didn't look at each other in a married light?
Yes, I do think that. Based on what we've seen with those two particular couples, they had a bite of the cherry the first time around, and obviously didn't like the taste for some reason. And now they get to spin the block, and it's more serious, right? Um, and both of those couples seem to be doing fairly well, despite the initial shock of seeing each other and knowing each other. They've overcome the reasons why it hasn't worked in when they dated. But particularly with Jeff and Rye, they seem to be very attracted to each other and seem to be on a very good trajectory at the moment. So, yeah, go ahead.
Life is reality. I'm with Tashay. I don't think Jeff wants to be with her anymore. She told Jeff, it is your responsibility now to get us out of the friend zone. She told him that. And the way Jeff is acting on the couch and they were doing their confessional was the letter. She felt robbed that, she didn't meet a stranger at the end of the aisle, but she's going with it. And she said, Jeff, it's your move.
Yeah.
And Jeff ain't look like he making a move. Jeff don't look like he want to make a move. Jeff looks like there's a reason why we fizzled out, and I don't wish to go back there because they were together for that month. They were together.
Yes. Now, as I said, like I definitely think that they can work, but it's not on him to actually do that. It's on both of them, right? Sitting back, waiting for him to make the moves and him to take control, or however you want to spin it. Don't think he's even that type of person to do that, which is why he hasn't risen to that form of expression or encouragement as to what to do. I know, like, it seems like she's giving him the blueprint to unlock the door, but I'm not so sure that that's going to work like that. Because he seems to be the type of person that's only going to match what he receives in that regard. So, yeah, like it may seem like he's checked out, but remember they've known each other already. So they're not meeting for the first time where everything's fresh and brand new. They've been together for a month or so. So his reactions are going to be a tad bit different to how some of the other couples are where they're meeting for the first time.
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I think she was giving him permission to take it back to where they were before, but we don't know how they broke up, and that's a key point. Kojo, what are your thoughts on Rye and Jeff?
Yeah, listen, it's not looking good. I can't lie to you, Jeff and Rye. It's not looking good. The body language on the sofa was not great. Jeff literally got up and ran off when they told they were done. That boy is tolerating her. He's tolerating her. So whatever he felt with her the first time round, clearly that's clearly how he feels now. And maybe he's a bit more timid, but I'm not seeing anything from him that's showing that he really wants Rye. It sounded like Rye's having to kind of force things. Like she had to beg almost for a kiss. I said, mm-mm. I said, listen, he's not. He said, obviously now he's starting to feel like he can touch her. I said, no, 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 sir. You know you ain't feeling her like that. And even the way they were sitting, there was a gap between them on the sofa. If you notice, there's a slight gap between the two of them. That told me that they're not comfortable physically yet. So for me personally, I mean, it could change. But for right now, it's not looking good. And it hasn't been looking good since the wedding. Because when he said, we'll see how it goes, and I think he said something about it's platonic right now. When a man tells you it's platonic right now, it's probably not going to become anything else but platonic by the end. Because he should like you from the beginning.
Hmm.
Yeah. I think Jeff is reliving the past, and he's gonna have to let go of it, like Karina did with her groom Paul, in order for them to move forward. I'm sorry, life is reality. What were you gonna say?
No, it's. I mean, I do take those points, but as I said, it to me it just doesn't look like a fresh, brand new relationship. They've known each other, they've dated each other, they've, had that breakup situation where he didn't ghost her, but he didn't really want that relationship at the time. But yeah, they're gonna have to get over that and mutually show interest in each other to the point where it seems like the relationship can work. If they don't do that, then it will be a fast exit. And with regards to the distance on the couch, I mean, that can be said for most of the couples when they're on that couch. There is a lot of couples who are not that close at this stage. So it's not really abnormal or out of the ordinary.
Okay. Next up, next couple. Let's get the fire started. Ryan and Jackie. Now,
Um,
Ryan is our self-professed warrior.
mhm.
They had a rocky road. And starting when they moved in, Ryan put his feet on the bed with the shoes on. Ryan partially put his feet on the couch. Jackie does not like that he has, there's a TV in the bedroom. There's a lot of things that she doesn't like. But Jackie leads with her resume. And Jackie's treating this, in my opinion, like it's a job performance or interview. So my thing is that Jackie is Jackie's giving me like the little things, and that's what the expert John said. Is the little things that are annoying her, and then it gets to the big things. In the ranking challenge, Ryan did not put his wife first, as etiquette dictates. He placed his wife third. Jackie did not like that. She's a former Miss New Zealand as well. And so she didn't appreciate that at all. And in retaliation fashion, or in my opinion, it's retaliation. When they were talking about their exes, Jackie said her ex has a body of the gods. Ladies, we know exactly what we mean by a body of the gods, okay? Which Ryan said, oh, he looked better than me. She's like, I didn't say that. She just said he's godlike. But Ryan came at the experts on the couch and he said, hey, y'all didn't listen to us and match us on what we said. Y'all just gave us just to each other on a whim. And the experts had to remind him what he asked for and show them how they fit. It's going to be difficult. They said they were their most difficult couple to match and place. So they're going to have to get out of their heads, as the experts said, and they're going to have to make this work and let go of the little things. And Ryan gonna have to pick up your clothes, put the shoes at the door, and Jackie gonna have to let that man just walk around the house a little bit, okay? Don't come up to him as to what he's doing every single time. Because it sounded like every single time. It sounded nagging. I'm sorry, Jackie. I'm sorry. But What are your thoughts? Life is reality. What are your thoughts on Ryan and Jackie?
Um, yeah, it is very nitpicky and naggy on Jackie's behalf. Um, Ryan is going to find it tough to be in a relationship with her if she blows up over the small things. And um, she said that he doesn't listen. And to a degree, I can see why. Because the things that she has elevated to a level of seriousness, i.e., turning up the thermometer, turning down, going to bed in a jacket, in a jumper, um, things like putting his feet on the couch or the dirty clothes situation. And, for him, he may not see those things as major things to complain about. So I think that's actually putting him off of her, to be honest. And she comes across, I want to say, I mean, she does have a pageantry background, but she does come across as quite spoilt, quite, how can I put it? Quite easy to offend, even if you don't mean anything by it. She seems like she'll take an issue. I think he was very valid in his point where he raised the fact that when she spoke about herself, she literally only spoke about her accomplishments and how much money she makes and nothing about her personality. And I don't think she really sees herself as having any real personality other than what she has accomplished, right? Because that was what the task was. Tell me about yourself. And she just went into a whole spiel about cryptocurrency, how much money she makes in her sleep, and all these different things. So, yeah, that's a turnoff. You're bragging about your accomplishments rather than actually being open. And we've seen some of the ladies in particular ask for more deep conversations or, open up to me more. And she seems to be quite guarded about how she actually is as a person. So I think she may not even, this is just my opinion, not fact, but I think she may actually struggle to identify other aspects of herself outside of her career.
Now, when Jackie was introduced to us, she told us that she was bullied incessantly as a child. So was we learned this week that Ryan was as well. He was not looking as good as he is now. But that led, she said, to entering pageants. That led to her, she won pageants, so it, vilified for her that she is a beautiful young lady. And now I think that it also led to her with all these accomplishments, all these degrees. It seems like Jackie has, hey, to show my worth, I have to do and show my accomplishments. So, Kojo, what are your thoughts on Jackie and Ryan this week?
Now, I'm hot on the tail of these two here. Now, Ryan and Jackie, I'm going to be very honest and very frank with you. They are both a problem here. And one thing that I would say is they're both a problem, but they both actually are very much alike. And actually, it's so funny because towards the end of deadline day, when you watch them on the couch, they actually if you just watch their body language, it went from bad to really good. So at the very beginning, they seemed to be separated. He had his arm around her, but nothing too tense. There's a little bit of a gap on the sofa. She was a little bit perched away from him, and he kind of kept his composure, right? But then towards the end, when the experts challenged them, you would see that she had her hand on his bicep. He had his hand on her knee of her leg, and their knees were almost touching. Why? Because actually they are very similar. Okay, they both want to be loved, but they're both afraid because neither party is able to yield. Each person thinks they're going to be taken advantage of, so they're having a battle and a warfare in their home, right? And both of them are actually both of them are unaware how their own behavior impacts the relationship, right? They're both unaccountable and both unaware. Like Ryan towards the end was acting like he was innocent in the whole situation. And I was like, Ryan, are you forgetting you put your shoes on the bed? Now, I don't care what anyone says. Don't put your shoes on the bed, bro. Do not put your shoes on the bed. I'm so sorry. That is nasty, nasty work. Okay? But you did it on purpose because you wanted to piss her off. Be honest about it. You made her third because you wanted to piss her off. You know what I'm saying to you? You did those things because you were playing warfare. You were playing the game. And listen, so long as you're going to be honest about it and okay about it, then cool, we understand. But these two are both, they both want to win the war. Like, something that she said, which was so funny, she was like, yeah, she said, I basically I disassociate because he doesn't listen to me. But she said, no, she said, he doesn't do what I want. That was her words. I disassociate. I said, you disassociate when you don't do what you want? I said, what kind of behavior is this? I said, both you and Ryan are power hungry people who don't want to yield. And this is either going to make you or it's going to break you. But either way, you're going to learn the lesson. Because even if you guys break up, you'll find that you're going to be the same thing in a couple with someone else. That this warfare will continue because you guys don't want to don't know how to yield and don't know also how to say sorry. Like, you both make mistakes and you both do things with vengeful hearts. Like, he wanted to get back at her and put her third. Now, I thought I was just disrespectful. I can't lie to you. And the fact that she said he had a godlike body, knowing that she was intentionally trying to nuke him. Now, what I would say is, I wouldn't play this game with her. I'm just saying that she's not weak. And the reason why I say that is because she cried, but she cried in confessions. He bemoaned in person. And I said, bro, you haven't got the balls for this game. She will end you. Because as soon as they got like body, you were sweating about why did you take it? You were sweating. She didn't, you know what I'm saying to you? So I said, you're not gonna last long if you play this game, bro. So I would perk it down and choose something else because you're not gonna win that war this way. She will find a way to end it with you.
That's the thing. I agree with you. I agree with the experts that they could be what society likes to term a power couple. They could be. They have the mind. They have the wherewithal. Degrees. They do their self-help books. They're trying, but it seems like they are crossing swords with each other rather than them against the world. And I think once they stop trying to grate each other's nerves, they can certainly make it. They could be a very strong couple, but they're in their head too much and they are pointing out the, little things that annoy them and not speaking very well about each other. I haven't heard them say something nice about each other. And as Jackie said, but she said it in Confessions, as you mentioned, he said, hey, I like to cook, but she doesn't like to cook. She says, hey, it's not that I don't, she's like, I just don't know how. And if he leans into that, take her to cooking classes and kind of opens that up to them, I think it can truly soften Jackie. Any other thoughts on this couple before we move on to our last
Yeah.
couple of the evening?
Yeah. Well, I'll say that the pettiness is going to ruin their relationship if they're not careful. Um, I think, this tit for tat, okay, well, he ranked me third, so I'm going to, talk about my ex in a glowing light. Dangerous game to play. You're not with your ex no more. That's finished. If he was godlike and he was so good, you still broke up, so there must have been something wrong there. And I don't think she likes to lose, and no one does. But there's a level of competing that I think she's used to. Being feisty, being quite stern, getting her own way, and I don't think he's a pushover like that, and that's going to cause them to clash. And again, it can be off-putting. With him ranking her third, I think sometimes you get punished for being honest. If he doesn't see her as number one, should he lie and say, yes, you're the most attractive girl in the group? Some people will say yes. Some people may say, no, just keep it real. She's not God's gift. She may have won a pageant or two, but that doesn't mean, compared to the other ladies on the cast, that she's number one. The other thing is the danger of choosing another person as number one and someone else's bride. Then she may hold it against him going forward. So it's a dangerous game that he played. But ultimately, I agree. You need to stop playing games. It's not going to result in a positive outcome, because at the end of the day, one of you is going to either go too far or you're going to take it too serious what your partner's done. So stop playing the games. They did actually talk about what they did like about each other and what they had in common on the couch. So there is positives there, and the experts can see it. And John was right. Focus on the fundamental things that you have in common rather than the differences. Everybody has differences to the person they're with. It's very rare you meet someone who's exactly alike, and give it time, and your relationship can grow and you can have fun together and possibly have a long lasting relationship. But if you focus on the differences and you're always trying to nitpick and nag or one up each other, then that's not a good start. And once you start like that, it's very difficult to bounce back from and have a healthy relationship instead of a toxic one.
So for these two, what I would recommend or what I would say is, Jackie, there's a way to say it, in a very persuasive way to get Ryan to comply. You could be persuasive rather than dictatorship. And Ryan kind of leaned into what she doesn't know, like the cooking, because Jackie is a sponge. She wants to learn so much. So take her away from the, day to day kind of learning, the day to day, what he would say is nitpicking, and take her out for more creative stuff. Take her out for the cooking classes, for a picnic, for something where she can learn. Go on an, observatory hike where you can have to bird watching, whatever. She so is a sponge that wants to learn. These two can make it if they get out their head and start nitpicking, and at least say each day at least two things that they liked about each other for that day. They need to start speaking positively about the other. So, for thank you everyone who is joining us. We're going to our last couple, but there's a question in the chat. Where do you watch this? There are a few ways. You can search Married at First Sight Australia on YouTube. There are many channels that do show the Australia version. Or you can, this is not a plug, this is not in any way, but if you have a VPN, you can VPN and select Australia as your location, and you could go to their Now 9 channel and watch it from their website or their app as well. So there are many ways, but you can certainly search it. And Kojo sometimes put in his description as well where he gets to view it for those in the UK. So our last couple of the evening. Oh, Lord. Tim and Katie. Y'all, Tim and Katie have had, Katie has had a week. I'm not going to say Tim has had a week. Well, at the dinner party, Tim turned it on Katie, making her feel like she was the problem. For those of y'all who have not seen the show, when Katie came up the aisle, Tim was not thrilled. When they kissed, he wiped the kiss off with the back of his hand. He called the producers to the side and said he prefers blonde, petite, and someone who doesn't talk as much, is what he said. Then at the dinner party, they went to the honeymoon. He said there's no spark. There's no spark on the honeymoon. And Katie has felt bad ever since. Katie's been trying to talk to him, try to ask him questions on the honeymoon. He doesn't respond. She tried to hug him. He recoiled, which is Katie's words. When they came back to dinner party, everybody saw him deflecting. He did not wish to speak about what happened between him and Katie. Katie was gracious enough to let everybody know, don't pile on him. Let him feel welcomed. Well, Tim did not move into the Sky Suites with Katie. Tim decided to go back home to Melbourne. With that, he has not tried to contact his bride at all. And he just kept saying to the producers, the spark is not there. And I was wondering, why do you keep Katie here? Because there was another bride who her groom left and she just left. But they left Katie here to prove to us and to show us Tim's audition video showed that he said he was willing to work on the relationship if there was no spark. So the producers were trying to say, like, hey, we did not put Katie in this situation just like that. Tim told us he was going to work on it. Tim decided he was going home. Katie shows up on the couch to talk about the week with the experts. Tim shows up late. The gall that he showed up at all is what Jamie said. The gall. And Tim felt like he should not be the only one roasted, that Katie should as well. Gentlemen, life is reality. What do you make of Tim and Katie?
Listen, Tim, master gaslighter. Um, I listen. There's a saying in Jamaican culture that goes, "Your chest too high," which basically means like you've got some nerve, you've got some front, you've got some gore, you've got some audacity to be moving the way you are, right? Tim has not made any effort whatsoever to make this relationship work. Even his ideal woman that he would have expected to be on the show, he's not. That type of woman is probably his dream woman, not the woman that he's going to really end up with in real life. And obviously, the glaring thing is he's not an oil painting himself. So for him to be as carrying on the way he is with Katie, it's very unfair to her. It's very cruel. He's definitely deserving of the the verbal tongue lashings that he's been getting. He deserves every single bit of it. He has not tried one single minute. And then to deflect it on and try and put it on her was very foul. He said that he feels like he's the one that's made all the effort. Yeah, all the effort to destroy what could potentially be a relationship. That's the only effort he's put in. So Katie, she seems like a very down to earth person. She seems like she's very open. She's very honest with her feelings and emotions, and she's prepared to give it a try. And yeah, this Tim guy, man, I know he's got into some problems with his work and things like that in real life because of this. And unfortunately, he chose to carry himself like that on the show. If you're not attracted to someone, listen, relationships sometimes don't work. Sometimes in this format where you meet someone for the first time, you're not instantly attracted to them. But he didn't give it a chance at all. So, I have no redeeming words for that guy. Katie, obviously, I think if Tim does go, then Katie needs to go as well because there isn't a groom there for her. And sometimes they do throw curveballs, but that's usually if there's an attraction between a couple that aren't actually meant to be together. They'll sometimes float the idea of putting them together to stay with the show. In this case, no one's attracted to Tim, and there isn't anyone for Katie. So, it's time to go home. Time to pack them bags.
Well, they both said leave. That's another point for those who have not seen this show. The couples have to write on a paper whether they wish to stay or leave the show for the next week. And, they both chose leave. They're going to leave. Tim did say, y'all are roasting me, but not her. Y'all ain't saying much to her, but y'all talking about me. And that to me shows that Tim doesn't want to take responsibility for his behavior. He wants to point the finger and say, hey, get at them, don't get at me. So he shut his social media down as well in Australia. So I'm sure he's feeling the heat because the Australian folks do not take too kindly to, what he's doing to Katie. But Jeff did say something. Jeff told Katie, your DMs are going to be lit. Before she left, they, gathered around Katie to, hug her and let her know that they are with her. Jeff said, hey, everybody in Australia is going to see this. The right man for you is going to see this, and your DMs are going to be lit. So, Kojo, what do you think about Tim and Katie?
Yeah, so I mean, listen. Master gaslighter is the right word. I think Life Reality said absolute truth. Master gaslighter, and he needs absolute smoke because there was no need for it. There actually was no need for it. If you didn't like her, be honest and say you didn't like her. This is not the one that you wanted. Be honest. Listen, say, hey, look, you know what? I'll be honest with you. She ain't the one that I was feeling. You know what I'm saying? She's like, physically, that's not my type. This whole spark. We know it's because you're not attracted, bro. And it just needs to be honest about it. Now, my biggest issue is that the consistent gaslighting is annoying, and it's like it doesn't need to happen. Like you went away and you stayed away. Oh, I didn't. And it told me also as well that it's not even just a gaslighting, right? This person is going to be a drainer in a relationship. He's a draining person in a relationship. He is going to be draining because when he explained it, he went away and expected her to chase him. That's what he said. He said, I expect her to reach out to me. Did you reach out to her? No. So you wanted her to chase you and beg you. So basically what you're saying is you think you're the prize and you think that she should chase you to make you feel at ease. I said, nah, you are a problem. You also flipped it at the dinner table. You're flipping it here. You want her to take accountability for something that she actually never did. You know what I'm saying to you? Like, bro, you didn't have to be here. Like, I get it that they didn't give you what you wanted, but you didn't have to be here. That's the craziest thing about it. You didn't have to be here, but you chose to be here. And then you came to this party. I mean, came to the decision day. I don't even know why. I don't know why. You want to give her closure? You didn't even give her closure. So what was the point of you coming? You know what I mean? At some point, you got to look at it and go, are you here for the TV? Are you just here for the TV? You know what I'm saying to you? Because clearly, you're not thinking straight, right? Any logic that we're saying that you should apply, you're not even applying it. So for me personally, I was majorly disappointed because at the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, I can understand why it might be a little bit difficult. I understand that you're not attracted to her, etc., etc. But the whole gaslighting stuff is bullcrap. And I think when these stuff happen like this, yeah, it tells me your character is deplorable anyway. Because in reality, like, we understand that you might get a little bit of heat, right? But even Elliot didn't do this. I mean, Elliot was bad, but he ain't this bad. You know what I'm saying? She's like, Tim is bad. And Tim tried to compare himself as if like he wasn't that bad. He's worse than Elliot. He's worse than Elliot. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because he's a nice guy, it's because he's a prick. You're actually a prick. Like, you can't behave like this and think that we're gonna look at you and be like, all right, cool, like, yeah, we understand you, Tim. No, we don't understand you, Tim. We don't understand. And I think shout out to obviously Katie as well for being stronger on this occasion, standing up for herself, letting him know. And I was saying this, I'm like, Katie, if you had shown that energy at the very beginning, yeah, I'm not saying that he would have definitely changed, but he wouldn't have got away with half the things he got away with because you were being so malleable and not actually being true to what you actually want. This is why sometimes you get run and get done dirty. Because had this energy been in the beginning, like, men need boundaries. I'm just gonna be honest with you, and women too. But men love boundaries. They love women that have boundaries. Women that say to you, "It's a no from me," and I'm not doing that. Men love those women because they know that they can't get run over and they know that other men can't also test them. So when they find that you can run you into the ground, they lose attraction. Now, of course, we already knew he didn't have no attraction towards it anyway, so it don't really make a difference. But it's just a lesson for her to learn in future. Like, don't go into it and accept anything. Have boundaries still. You can communicate those boundaries without looking like you're about to reject them. No, it's okay. But yeah, he definitely is a gaslighter, non-accountable person, flipping it on her, saying, why are you not talking about her? Sound like a little kid. That's what kids do. Why are you not talking about them? No, we're talking about you. Or about why are you not talking about her? No, we're talking about you and what you've done, and you should be accountable. And to the fact that he didn't really even say, I was waiting for even a sorry. He didn't even drop a sorry. He didn't even drop a sorry, if I remember correctly. He didn't drop a sorry. And I was like, yo, so the whole time you ran away and you came back, you haven't even dropped a sorry to that. You know what? My bad. Nah. Yeah, I can't lie. Problematic.
Yeah, he did not apologize because he was too busy saying, "What about her? You didn't check her." He also did not tell the experts that he did not get her number, because that was the other thing when the production was asking him, has he contacted Katie earlier for the dinner party? He said, I don't even have her number. When Katie found out he went home, production told her he went home. And I think what will be a great conversation is the difference between walls and boundaries. I think maybe Katie thinks that if she enters into this with her new husband with boundaries like she has now, it may be that she feels like she's putting up walls or barriers from a connection. And that may be a conversation that needs to be had, that, hey, you need to let him know he cannot, take you to the honeymoon and all of this. He did the first night before they went on the honeymoon. So that told me Tim said just enough to get her on a plane just to go on a honeymoon so he could get a vacation. He said just enough so he could go to the dinner party to hang with the other fellas. He did just breadcrumbs, minuscule breadcrumbs, to get long enough to get there. And I think he showed up at decision day because production probably say, we will find you, we will sue you, we will get you if you do not show up on this decision day. So, any other thoughts on Tim and Katie?
Nope, he's
Any other thoughts?
diabolical. Nope, he's diabolical. I think everyone covered it.
Okay, well, on that note, Kojo did lose connection, but please, Kojo is on Little Black Book 91 on YouTube. He breaks down each of the couples, each of their situations. He does many other shows, and he has panels on Ready to Love, Love is Blind, and Married at First Sight, many of the different versions, US, UK, and now Australia. We finally got him on Australia. Life is Reality. Would you like to share with the audience what you are up to as well?
Man, busy. Not so active on social media anymore, but I do watch the show, so I'll be appearing on your platform when you obviously invited. Kojo, sometimes super panels and things like that. Covering a few different dating shows that have just started up. I don't know if I can name drop them, but one, for example, Ready to Love, I'll be covering that. Definitely Married at First Sight, Australia. And, you know, I'm looking out for more. But as I say, I'm not really active on the YouTube streets anymore. But find me on Life is Reality on YouTube, or JRX TV on Instagram, where you'll see some of the other stuff I do: property, health, fitness, well-being, that type of stuff.
All those things we need in our life. Thanks, Life is Reality. And I am Elsid932 on YouTube. I cover Married at First Sight Australia, Love is Blind. I love Love is Blind, the international version. So if you tinker around my channel, you'll be able to see Brazil, UK, Mexico, Argentina. That's where I started. And we have Love is Blind Minnesota coming up this Friday, Valentine's Day. They are giving us 6 episodes. So please look out for that. And I'm going to continue weekly updates and weekly lives of Married at First Sight Australia. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for joining both of our channels. And we will see you again next week. Once you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, you will not miss a single video we release. So hope to see you again, and have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you.